Dear beloved Muslims, Assalamu alaikum wa Jumah Mubarakah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله. الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نستعينه نستغفره ونؤمن به عز وجل، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له ملك وله حمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد أيها المسلمون. Dear believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, highly glorified is He and supreme above all things, says in the Qur'an, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Ra. Tilka ayatul kitabil mubin. Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyan la'allakum ta'kulun. Sadaqallahu Azim, and Allah the Mightiest has spoken the truth. A translation is ALR. These are the symbols of the verses, or the verses of the perspicuous book, or the clear book. I like that translation better, Mubin. The verses of the clear book. We have sent it down in an Arabic Qur'an in order that you may learn wisdom. And it continues in English. We do relate unto thee the most beautiful stories, in that we reveal to thee this portion of the Qur'an. Before this, thou too was among those who knew not. We say, Sadaqallahu Azim, and Allah the Mightiest has spoken the truth. Dear believers, our topic for today is actually an answer to a request by one of our members. I'm glad you're sitting down. Yes, the Imam takes request for the Jumah Khutbah. Praise be to Allah. Sister Rabia asked me to address this topic, and we pray Allah that we address it in such a way that is beneficial to her and all of us. And that is, our topic for today is the story of Joseph, or Yusuf, from the Tafsir of Imam W, Deen Mohammed, radiyallahu anhu. So, dear family, we will not do this justice, of course, and we don't want to hold it too long, so let's just hit the highlight. Let's talk about the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Those of us that already know and that are already familiar, Yusuf is in the 12th surah of the Qur'an. Allah named a surah after Prophet Joseph or Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, the 12th surah. I invite and encourage all of you to read the surah. It's not that long, to complement what we're offering here today. But what are the highlights of the story? The highlights of the story is that Joseph, upon him be peace, is the idea or the feeling in the story is that his father Jacob, upon him be peace, sees him as a very special child. From the very beginning, the story begins with him as a youth. So in the very beginning, he's a special child. And the Qur'an, the story opens up where Joseph, upon him be peace, tells his father, upon him be peace, Yaqub, Jacob, that he had a dream, and you read it for yourself what the dream is. Basically, it talks about that he saw the stars and the sun prostrate before him, and Jacob became immediately concerned and said, don't tell that to your brothers. Keep that to yourself. And you'll understand in a moment, but I'll just say this. Joseph's brothers, he had 11 brothers, and they were jealous of him. All of them were older than him except one, Benjamin. So that's why he had him keep it to himself. As the story unfolds, Joseph's brothers are jealous of him, so they conspire. One says to kill him, but then they immediately dismiss that and said, let's put him in a well. So they ended up putting him in a well. I'm not going to get into all of these. You read the story about how they deceived Jacob and how they bloodied the shirt and stained the shirt with blood. I'm talking to Muslims. I trust you all are reading your Qur'an. You should be familiar with this. I want to get to the highlights. And the highlights are that he was put in the well and left there actually to die, or left there and hoping that a caravan would pick him up, and a caravan did discover him in the well, took him out of the well, and sold him into Egypt. As we're going through this story, I'm looking at majority African Americans here today, but if you're not African American, I pray that you still can appreciate the parallel, the connection that we can make with what happened to African American people. And I think ultimately this story is about all those that are oppressed and what happens to them in oppression, and how Allah, if you're innocent, how Allah will protect you in your oppression, preserve you in your oppression, and actually establish you in your oppression. So when you're liberated, you become the leader. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to put a pin in that. The connection simply is, were we not also sold into slavery? All right. So, he's sold to Egypt. The Great Aziz, some reports, that's the name that they give, the Great Aziz. And when he has a conversation with his wife about him, the wife basically suggests, why don't we adopt him? Perhaps he will bring us good in the future. And of course, again, I'm getting ahead of myself, he did bring them good. So he's in the house of the Pharaoh now. He's in the Aziz. He's in Egypt, one of the most powerful civilized nations in the world. And then we know that in the story, both Bible and Qur'an plays up Joseph's good looks, how handsome he was. So the Aziz's wife seeks to seduce him. He resists the seduction. He gets away from her as she seduces him, and then the Aziz sees what's going on, and because of the embarrassment and because of the implications of what has happened, they decide to put him in jail for a time. And actually, Joseph preferred jail. He preferred jail rather than be put in a situation where his integrity, his morality, his good character is in question. Because again, I have to give you this piece. She claimed that he was seducing her. And he claimed, no, she is seducing me. And then one of the people living in the house that observed the whole situation bore witness that yes, she tried to seduce him. But the way he did it, the way she did it, pardon me, she said, Aziz, consider this, or old king, or however she addressed him. She said, consider this. If Joseph was trying to seduce her, his shirt will be torn from the front. If he was trying to run away from her and she was seducing him, his shirt would be torn from the back. And as the story goes, it was obvious that the shirt was torn from the back. So at that point, the Aziz, in one sense, knew that he wasn't guilty. But again, politics get involved. Images get involved. Optics get involved. How does it look for me? How does it look for my wife? So they put him in jail for a time. Not only that, he does the time in jail, and I didn't mention this, but one of Joseph's gifts, of course, was to interpret dreams. He was blessed with the ability to interpret dreams. Now, up until this point, before his incarceration, he is not interpreting dreams. He just knows he has the gift. But then he finds himself in a situation where fellow inmates ask him, they share a dream with him and ask him to interpret it, and he does. And then when this individual is released from prison, Joseph says, tell the Aziz, tell the Pharaoh, remind him I'm here. And also inquire about the state of affairs, the condition in the society. Don't forget about me. So he leaves them for a while. He's in jail for a while. He does forget about him. And then the Pharaoh had a dream that he needed interpretation of, and none of his close companions, none of his advisors, none of his counselors could interpret the dream. And at that point, the ex-inmate remembered there was a man in prison that could interpret dreams, and he brought the dream to Joseph. He interpreted it as a way of appreciating this interpretation. He frees Joseph. And he also asked Joseph, well, how can I repay you? What can I do for you? How can I show how much what you did meant to me? Joseph says, put me over the storehouse. Put me over the resources. Put me over the distribution of the wealth in this society. And then you all know that that is what happened to him. And he received, and he was able to realize that great station in that great position. But dear family, I'm going to say this, sit down for this part of the khutbah, and I'm going to say it again. The story of Joseph as a type. Yes, we acknowledge that that type existed, but what I didn't read, and I'm going to say now and probably say again, Allah says in Surah Yusuf, very clearly in the beginning of the surah, that Joseph and his brothers are a sign. Matter of fact, actually I did read it. I did read part of it in opening up. Ayat was used in that first verse, that he is a sign, that he is a proof, that he is an evidence. Joseph is a sign. And then it talks about the fact that before Allah revealed this to Muhammad, upon him be peace, you weren't even aware of that. But the point that I want to make here is that one of the most outstanding qualities and characteristics of Joseph was his morality, was his God consciousness and his obedience to God, the discipline he had to obey God. And that's what made him deserving. That's what made him worthy. That's why he deserved and received the protection and the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. Oh Lord, give us the excellence of this life. Give us the excellence of the life to come. Please save us from the torment of the fires of sin. Ameen. Allahu Akbar. All praise is due to Allah, and thereafter all unqualified praise is due to Allah. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, we thank Allah, we praise him. He's the Lord of all the worlds. We seek his aid, we beg for his mercy and his forgiveness. We put our complete faith and trust in him. Mighty and sublime is he. We bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah alone. He is without partners or associates and nothing like unto him. And we further witness that Muhammad, to whom the Qur'an was revealed, that he is Allah's slave, servant, and his messenger. And we pray the prayers and the peace be on him, his family, his descendants, the companions, all. And on you also be the peace. Ameen wa amma ba'd. And what follows of that salutation. Those of you that are not familiar, what I just said in English is exactly the way I opened up in Arabic. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So brothers and sisters, this is the part of the khutbah where I challenge you a little bit. I challenge you to do the same challenge that the Qur'an offers us. Reflect, think, ponder, look for the meaning, look for the message in Joseph and his brothers are a sign. Brothers and sisters, are you and I just satisfied to know the story of Joseph? Or do we look for relevance in our lives? Not just the story of Joseph, everything in the Qur'an. Yes, it's knowledge. Yes, it's good for us to recount. Yes, it's good to know those things. But why did Allah put it in the Qur'an? To preserve for all time. Because he knows that history repeats itself. He knows that the human nature is fundamentally the same. And the same challenges that they have, you and I have. So this has to be personal for us as individuals, but also as communities. What is the message? How is it relevant in 2024? The story of Joseph. It's relevant in the sense, all of these stories are relevant. What Allah is letting us know, what I did then I can do now. If you find yourself in the similar situation and circumstances of those you just read about, then apply the same faith that they apply. Apply the same obedience that they apply. Apply the same remembrance that they apply. And I'm with you just like I'm with them. Some of us don't have that kind of faith. We don't have that kind of relationship with Allah. We don't see it like that. And if we don't, we're the ones that are losing. Because Allah is still in the miracle business. So let's unpack this, dear family. There's a parallel in Joseph's life and Moses' life too. That wasn't just a slip. There is a parallel in Moses' life and Joseph's life. But Joseph is the focus. A parable in his life for us. Joseph and his brothers are a sign. I already mentioned to you that part of the reason, but it's worth saying again. Because brothers and sisters, when you and I ask the question, why are we not as successful? Why don't we have the same level of faith? Why don't we receive the same blessing? I didn't say we're not being blessed. All of us are being blessed. But don't be satisfied with that. There's more for you. There's levels for you. There's layers for you. And it has to do with our effort, our engagement, our seeking, our yearning. Allah's not going to just give you something just, empty in a sense. In other words, give you something that you're not seeking or you're not ready for. Do you hear what I'm saying? Ready for. That's why he holds back sometimes. You don't have the foundation. We don't have the foundation. We don't have the readiness. We don't have the preparedness. So that blessing will not bear the fruit that it will bear once the time and the season comes. Once we're ready. And quiet as it's kept, brothers and sisters, regardless of what it looks like, that too is what's happening at Masjid Bilal. Why isn't this Musalla packed? Why aren't people all out into the streets? It's certainly not the message. It's certainly not the knowledge. It's certainly not the example. Maybe it has something to do with the readiness. Maybe it has something to do with the preparedness. Maybe we're still developing. Maybe we're still trying to lay a foundation in such a way that when those blessings come, we have something more to offer. When those blessings come, the foundation doesn't collapse under the weight. All right, praise be to Allah. So Yusuf was God-fearing, obedient, high morals and integrity. These are the qualities that made him deserving and established him in the land. Why were his brothers jealous of him? Because he was treated like something special. Why was he treated like something special? Because Jacob, alayhi salam, saw something in him. Again, brothers and sisters, we love all of our children. We say we love them equally, that's another conversation, but we at least love all of our children. And we see things in our children. Some things make us proud, some things embarrass us. I'm keeping it real. They're not all on the same level. And when you see potential, when you see possibility in a child, you throw your resources behind that because you see that as a good investment. Joseph was a good investment. Jacob invested in Joseph. He tried to protect Joseph in his youth, when he was most vulnerable, when he didn't have the enlightenment, the knowledge, and the guidance. Please listen to what I'm saying, because inshallah, we're going to bring this all back again. So the jealousy had to do with the father loving him more, at least in the perception of the people, of his brothers. And I'm going to say something else, and Muslims, please appreciate this, even though I'm quoting the Bible. I know that's not our book, but the original Bible comes from Allah also. And we are to connect with the original scripture to actually get the full benefit of our own scripture. You can't fully benefit and appreciate the Qur'an without a knowledge of, I said fully, don't misquote me. You can't fully appreciate and benefit without going back to those previous scriptures, because it's a progression and Allah is evolving his knowledge. So in Genesis, in the Bible, there's something called the coat of many colors. I know a lot of us, because we're ex-Christians, we know what I'm talking about. The coat of many colors. So let's look at the coat, because again, the direction is in the definition. The direction is in the understanding and the knowledge. And also, brothers and sisters, what you and I have to learn to do is learn the nature of a thing, the function of a thing, a role of a thing. And if we focus on that, we will gain the insight. Shakir, get to it. What is a coat? A coat is a protection. A coat is a covering. But a coat can also be an identifier or a beauty. Where am I going with this? Is not the one with the rainbow looking coat going to attract more attention than just a brown coat, a black coat, a gray coat? And it also suggests something else. If I just have on a black coat or a brown coat or a gray coat, that kind of suggests I'm one-dimensional. That kind of suggests that I don't have much depth. I don't have much capacity. But the multiple coat says that I'm multifaceted, that I have more qualities, more characteristics, more potential, and more possibility. Jacob didn't want to give that coat to those that were not a good investment. He saved that coat for the one that he saw deserving of the coat, that had the multifaceted nature, that had the different aspects and characteristics that would benefit him, his family, and the society as a whole. We're still talking about the coat of many colors. Yes, Yusuf was special, more to offer than his brothers. Also, Imam Muhammad radiallahu anhu made a reference of the coat as, I'm going to slow down here. We're doing good on time. I'm going to slow down here on this part. Remember who Imam Muhammad was sent to. Imam Muhammad references this coat connecting to the African American community and the African American struggle from slavery to al-Islam. Yes. How can we see this? How is he making these connections? He uses the coat and replaces the coat in the analogy, in the metaphor for African Americans as, again, remember, I said that the coat can be an identifier. What was our identification? It was the color of our skin. Where was the contempt? Where was the hatred coming from? Why was it justified? Because of the color of our skin. Our humanness, our heart, the way our blood flow, where our liver is, and all of that is the same of every other race. They were not so despicable or not so, they were not so down on us because of our color. Imam used the example like this, a beautiful example. The fact that we were black was not the thing that disgusted them. Remember, they had separate water fountains. A black bird can come and drink out of the water fountain. A black bird could drink out of the water fountain, and our white brothers come behind them and drink behind the bird. Our white brothers can have a black dog and let the black dog lick them all in the mouth. It's not the blackness. It's what's connected to that humanity, or what you have framed as that humanity, the way you have marginalized that humanity. I hope you all are tracking me. And this is right on time for Martin Luther King weekend. That was the struggle. So what am I saying here? Our black skin was an identifier for us. And the world reacted a certain way to our black skin. And they oppressed us for hundreds of years. And when we were in that oppression, Allah was creating a new creation. In that oppression, Allah was giving us the equipment, the tools, the sensitivities to lead the world. Yes, we didn't like it when we were going through it, but look at us on the other side now. Look at us on, and again, brother said, I'm not naive. Just bear with. I can't cover everything in 30 minutes. Just bear with me. But a hint to the wise is sufficient. What I'm saying to you, no, we have not arrived. And I'm going to tell you part of the reason why we have not arrived is because we have abandoned the role of Joseph. Joseph maintained his morality, maintained his integrity, maintained his good character while he was in prison. That's why Allah established him while he was in prison and gave him the keys to the storehouse upon his liberation. But you and I, in our oppression, have not always remained true. You and I, in our oppression, when we're giving the liberation, when we're giving the freedom, we start imitating our oppressors. And in imitating them, not even their best qualities. I know this is a different kind of khutbah. I already know it's all right. Not even their best quality. So how can you expect God's favor? How can you expect to be blessed when you're not even in the form, your best form? Praise be to Allah. I'll leave that right there. That's a connection that the Imam made. Yes. Even brothers and sisters, when you and I did not have establishment, were other brothers. Remember, Joseph had 11 brothers. 10 of them were jealous of him. Him and Benjamin were all right, but here's the point. Our brothers in humanity, even though we could not compete with them politically, could not compete with them economically, there still was a jealousy there. There still was an envy there. And we felt that there were roadblocks put in our way, so we didn't realize our full potential. So we couldn't compete in the world, compete in the marketplace. That was deliberate. But even then, they admired our morality. They wouldn't put us in charge, but they trusted us. We could be trusted. And then they gave us glimpses of that. I have to keep it moving, dear family. I hope you're tracking and you're following me. So they envied our morality. They envied our courage to stand up against oppression. And they envied our ability to overcome. We were not destroyed. What we went through would have destroyed anybody. As terrible as what our Jewish brothers went through, they came out on the other side and still knowing their language and culture and all of that. We lost everything and still kept our humanity. That's the blessing of Allah. So, I'll just go ahead and say this while it's on my mind. Many times we are not to be acknowledged and recognized or put up on top or in front, but they want to use us. How many of you saw the movie Hidden Figures? Hidden Figures was about the 4 African American ladies that were most consequential to the space program during the time when the Apollo and all of that was being launched. And actually the success of that launch was because of an African American woman who she had 2 strikes against her in that period of time. She was woman and she was African American. So who got the credit? But behind closed doors, they're picking her brain. They're using her formulas. This has been our role, dear family. They use us, but they don't want us out front. My non-African American brothers, bear with me, please. You should also be excited about how Allah works. Allah doesn't look at our color. He don't look at our face. He looks at our heart. He looks at our oppression. He looks at our circumstances. So even whether it's happening to our brothers in Palestine or happening to us, when Allah does something good, celebrate it. Takbir, Allahu Akbar. Look at what Sister Ebony and I were going back and forth, with me and Sister Hamida. Which of the 2 favors of your Lord will you deny? When you see Allah's handiwork, when you see His blessing, when you see His power manifest in the world, don't get jealous of this over there, not with you. Celebrate. Because Allah is still Akbar. I apologize, family. I guess I'm in a different zone. I hope half of y'all are with me today. Praise be to Allah. Yes. So I'm shifting now, putting Joseph in the bottom of the well. When you look up the Arabic word for bottom, it also is a connection to darkness and a lack of guidance. And remember, Joseph was a youth. So what the story is telling us, if you want to stifle a people, if you want to kill a people's chances for the future, put them in a dark state as youth before they can understand and fully perceive what's happening to them. Catch them when they're in development. Catch them when they're vulnerable. That's the well that he was in. A well of ignorance, a well of darkness, a well that lacked guidance. But don't forget, he was liberated from that well by the permission of Allah. The seduction. I'll just say this now. Stop seeing the Aziz's wife as a woman. She represents a society. And the women that cut their hands, they represent a society. The Aziz's wife, because of her position, her power, her stature, she's the big shot in the society. And the other women that came to see what captivated her and wanted her to seduce Joseph, they're lesser influencers, lesser roles in the society, but they're still aspects of the society. Both of them are influences in the society. She, the wife, is the big influence, they're the small influence. So now let's look at it. What is the significance of the seduction? What is the significance of the tearing of the shirt from the front versus the back? She was not successful tearing the shirt from the front. If she was successful, then Joseph wouldn't have been successful. Why? Because the front represents where your vital organs are. The front is where your heart is. She did not get to the heart. She did not influence the heart. She did not taint the heart. She did not destroy the heart. And also your stomach, which is symbolic of your appetites. She did not influence his appetite and get his appetite. In other words, remember there's another verse where he says in the Qur'an, I have similar lust that she has. I'm paraphrasing. But it is my taqwa, it is my protection in favor of God that kept me from acting on those appetites and acting on that lust. So she couldn't tear it from the front. He was protected in the heart, protected in the desire, protected in the appetite. But then she got him from the back. Why did she get him from the back? What is the back? What is in the back? There's a lot in the back, but primarily, is not our spine in the back? Brothers and sisters, understand why we use certain language. The spine is what helps us stand upright. When people use the spine for the literal uprightness and the metaphoric uprightness. When somebody does not stand their ground, or they flip and flop on you, or they take one position, but when they get under pressure, they buckle and take another position, we say that person got no spine. That person got no backbone. You think this is accidental language? So she was trying to take away that which supported him, that which made him upright. And praise be to Allah, she wasn't successful there either. Allahu Akbar. I'm winding down here, family. We're bringing this to a close. Yes. While Joseph was in prison, because he went to prison. While Joseph was in prison, Allah established him in prison. Sometimes, brothers and sisters, we need to get away from a situation. Go into a cave. Go into a cocoon where we can really commune with nature, commune with our thoughts, the best of our thoughts in our inner peace, soul, and aspirations. And that's where the establishment came. And remember, it wasn't until he was in prison that he began interpreting dreams. That means he was not ready to interpret dreams until he got and found himself in that situation and what that situation did for his growth and development. Now he's ready to not only interpret dreams, he's ready to be over the storehouse. Allahu Akbar. Pharaoh had a vision for the future, but he did not understand how to accomplish it. He had a vision, but the vision confused him. It was Joseph that brought clarity and interpreted the vision for him. And that's where he got established. All while he was being oppressed, dear family. Yes, oppression is a terrible thing. Allah says outright slaughter is better than oppression. So no, we don't settle for oppression. We don't lay down for oppression. But understand, because that's what some people ask, how could Allah allow something like that to happen to a people? How can Allah allow what's happening to the Palestinians to happen? How can Allah do this? And not only how did he allow it, 400 years for the African American, 75 years for our Palestinian brothers. How? Why? And I'm not here to answer it, other than what I've already done to answer it. And that is simply this, dear family. He takes those situations, he takes those opportunities to prepare for a better future. Imam taught us that Allah is so fair and so just that he is obligated to compensate us and reward us to the degree and the measure that we've been deprived. You may not see it, but I see it, family. I see it coming, and I already see it. What Allah has done for us, and even making us a new people. So he's liberated from prison and he's put over the storehouse. What does the storehouse represent? All of the resources. Got the keys to unlock the resources, to feed people, to manage. See, some people can get the keys, but they don't know how to manage. He knows how to do all of that now. So I'm going to end on this. Thank y'all for your indulgence. I have to make this last connection. In the Isra wa Miraj, the night journey and the ascension, right on time. My clock is going off right now, right on time. And brothers and sisters, this is being debated, and we're not going to settle it here today, but I'm going to take the position that the Isra and Miraj is not a physical occurrence. It is a dream. If you look at how the story even begins, Allah says the prophet was sleeping, or the story said he was sleeping and during this, in the dream, the night. So that's where and again, we're not alone. Don't think we're going left and we're being renegades. No, the scholars are debating, did this actually happen or is it metaphoric? Does it represent something else? So just suffice it to say, because I'm overcooking your grits now. Thank you all for bearing with me. Joseph was on the third level of heaven in the story. I'm giving you the Reader's Digest version. On the first level was Father Adam. On the second level was Jesus and John the Baptist. On the third level was Yusuf. Again, go back to my talk. We've already dealt with this. I'm not going to deal with it comprehensively. But understand that Adam is the foundation that everything else evolves from. He's one father and there's a second father. Adam is the natural father. Abraham is the father of the rational faith, etc. There's more to be said about that. But my point is, the order is not an accident. Why is Adam on the first level? Because he is the first human type. After him comes Yahya, which is Arabic, John, and Jesus. What is John? John, Yahya, is a word that is connected to being alive. You need a conduit. You need something to motivate you and catapult you to the next level. Because don't forget, Jesus, they're twins, right? They're on the same level. Jesus is a word and a spirit from God. So the word and the spirit has to come alive. And they come alive on that level together. And then what is Joseph? Joseph is the ability to look into the word, look into the spirit, and interpret it. He's the psyche of the human being. The ability to discern, the ability like I said, a good word is to give insight and to interpret. Now, after you come alive, after you interpret the word, who comes next? Idris, who was given the pen. So now the pen documents, now it establishes. I got to stop right there. There's something we could say for all seven. But see Joseph in that way. And And brothers and sisters, every one of these prophets and messengers are you and I in our essence. We may not reach the level of Joseph or the level of Aaron or any of them. We may stay on the Adam level, but understand that they are representatives of our potentials and possibility, who we can become, grow, and evolve into. And we should want that. We should yearn for that. So brothers and sisters, I'm open to further conversation. I never feel like I do these things justice. No, it's not comprehensive. There's so much more to be said. I'm just going to let you know this. And I want to thank my colleague, Imam Dr. Mubashir Al-Uqda out of New Jersey, who helped me do the research for this talk. He's a great student of the Imam. And I did not do it justice. You know why? He sent me 2 documents. Brother Gibran, I'm glad you're sitting down, brother. One document was 16 pages, and the second document was 40 pages on the Tafsir of Imam Deen Mohammed radiallahu anhu on the story of Joseph. So I ain't done nothing today. But we pray Allah that you can add this to your arsenal. We pray Allah that you can add this to your levels of understanding. We're on a journey, dear family. I want to acknowledge, is that Brother Hamza back there? We welcome Brother Hamza. I acknowledge him, and I want you all to be aware. I don't know if you brought any business cards, Brother Hamza, but Brother Hamza is a brother that is in business, and he deals with the repair of cell phones. And sometimes we might find ourselves in that situation from time to time, so that's a good brother to know. We acknowledge our board member, Brother Muhammad Chaudhry. We welcome you, my brother. Good to see you. Special acknowledgement, welcome to our brother Gibran Small. If you don't know who he is, he's the son of our dear brother and sister, Doug and Cassandra Small. Good to see you, brother Gibran. Welcome. Another special welcome to close family member, Sister Khadija. I see you, my sister. Is it Abdul Hakim? I gotta get that right. Y'all know who she is. She's our family. Yes. And we hope to get caught up, sister. You may be in town for a few minutes, or maybe you've been here, but we look forward to reconnecting with you and hoping you'll reconnect with us. Praise be to God. So with that, dear family, I also want to acknowledge another special, no stranger though, family, Sister Lorraine. Yes. I want her to know that we always see you as family. That's period, bottom line. And our sister always acts like that. She'll jump in and prepare some food, serve it. Just jump right in, it ain't no problem. Because I think you see us that way too. We your family. Praise be to God. So brothers and sisters, not time a lot of times. Don't let time make distance for us. Sometimes you know people and you almost pick up on the conversation you had with them 6 years ago without missing a beat. That's because there's a connection. And the connection is not physical, it's spiritual. I've said enough. Dear family, inshallah, we will have Taaleem this Sunday at 12:30 p.m. I'm going to confess. Keep your eye on your emails. I'm not sure if we're going to come in person or not. I've been watching the weather, and I want to be sensitive to the people that we may not get out of the 40s on Sunday, and it may go down to like 29. So I don't want to burden you, so I may do a Zoom meeting. Why Zoom? Because then you can interact. You can make comments. We can talk. It's not just a monologue. It's a dialogue. But either way, 12:30 Sunday, inshallah. And Facebook, you'll be able to join us as well. We will have our Taaleem, inshallah. We want to encourage you to keep up your sadaqah, and we want to encourage you to always keep your dua up for the very many of us that need your dua. And last but certainly not least, I want to let you know that I'll be talking to the board We're having a board meeting here on Tuesday, inshallah. And we want to start our conversation about our next community meeting. It's time for a community meeting. We're in a new year. Let's hit the reset button. And again, community is common unity. Community is not about leadership only. It's about leadership and community. And guess what? It's about community and leadership. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد كما صليت إبراهيم وعلى إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. آمين. أقيم الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد